All right, let's do this. This episode is loaded, you guys, not just in the sense of packed with information, which it is, but also loaded in the emotional sense. Today, we're going in deep and talking about that nasty, sneaky, meanie-head Mr. Imposter Syndrome. I live without a shred of a doubt that the content in this episode will probably strike a chord with many of you. Have you ever heard a voice that tries to convince you that everyone else has it figured out and you're just faking it until someone calls you out for the fraud that you are? Or maybe it just tells you that if you ask for help, people will think that you don't really know what you're doing. Maybe you downplay your success because you don't think you've really earned it. Maybe you think that you've just gotten lucky. Or maybe the voice says that you're not good enough to be charging the fees you are because you're not worth it. Yeah, that voice is a liar. Welcome back to the Post-Production Podcast, where we get real about the highs, the lows, and the absolute what the heck am I doing moments of running a business. I'm your host, Christy Verbruch-Post, and I am a serial imposter syndrome victim. If you feel like we could basically be mind twins right now, grab yourself a cup of coffee or your favorite cup of something, and let's get cracking. So first up, what is imposter syndrome? A 2023 paper titled Imposter Phenomenon by Martin R. Heckler et al. Puts it as a behavioral health phenomenon described as self-doubt of intellect, skills, or accomplishments among high-achieving individuals. According to that same paper, the term was first described in 1978 by Dr. Suzanne Imes and Dr. Pauline Rose Clance as an observation first among successful women and other marginalized groups. Oxford Languages describes it as the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts or skills. So how does imposter syndrome manifest itself? What are the types of things that someone with imposter syndrome might say to themselves? Well, they might say things like, anyone can do what I do, or I just got lucky, or my success is a fluke. If they're starting a new, exciting job, maybe even a promotion, actually, especially a promotion, they might tell themselves, what if my new boss regrets giving me this opportunity? Or sooner or later, they'll realize that I have no idea what I'm doing and they'll regret not having hired one of the other candidates. Or I'm not fill in the blank to be here. Things like, I'm not smart enough, good enough, young enough, pretty enough, talented enough, funny enough, social enough. It goes on and on and on. They think that they have to work twice as hard to prove that they're worth something. They think that if they ask for help, that might be a sign of weakness and that they don't belong where they are. They think that they should never struggle because real experts don't find things this hard. If I had many hands and feet, I could count on all of my fingers and toes several times over how many times that kind of belief has crossed my own mind. The belief that I'll be discovered for the sham I am. Imposter syndrome is permanently part of my DNA. There is nothing in the list of things that I have just spewed out that I haven't accused myself of or told myself at one point or another. Heavy, right? Do you feel a little bit out of breath hearing all of those words? Why? Why are we so vehemently hard on ourselves like this? Why are we driven to think like this? For some of us, it's a combination of many things. But here are some of the most common. High expectations and perfectionism. People who set impossibly high standards for themselves often feel like they're never good enough, even when they achieve success. That could be influenced by past experiences or rejection or criticism. If you've ever been dismissed, underestimated, or told you're not good enough in the past, those voices, they can stick with you, making you doubt your capabilities. Or if you were raised in a household where success was the expectation rather than celebrated, you might feel like you're never quite enough. And that can for sure lead you to tie your self-worth to achievements. When your identity is wrapped up in how much you accomplish, any small mistakes or setbacks can bring you back to past negative experiences and bring you to feel like it's proof that you're just not good enough. Especially for women, it can be working in a male-dominated or competitive industry. Feeling like an outsider in a space that wasn't built with you in mind can heighten imposter syndrome and make you second-guess your place. A lack of representation, which is when you don't see people like you in your industry or in leadership roles, might feel like you don't belong or that your achievements or your thoughts or your ideas are less valid and should probably be shushed. Maybe you compare yourself to others a lot, constantly measuring your skills and success against others, especially in the age of social media, can make you feel like you don't measure up. How many times have you looked at your Instagram growth chart? Do you compare yourself to other Instagram users with a similar business model and feel like their account is growing exponentially faster than yours? Do you recognize yourself in any of these? I'll be completely honest with you. I recognize myself in all of them. And look, you guys, I grew up in a super loving household. My parents were incredibly supportive and encouraging. To this day, my mom can't talk to somebody about me without mentioning how proud she is of me and everything I've accomplished. Then she'll list off all of my accomplishments and then excitedly tell the person she's talking to about all the new things that I'm working on. She's honest to goodness my biggest cheerleader. When I tell her about my ideas and the things that I'd like to try, she pumps me up to the point where all of my nasty self-doubts will vanish and I'll leave feeling totally ready to conquer the world of whatever I'm going for. And then I go away, and on the drive home, or these days the plane ride home, I'll think about my situation for a bit, and eventually I'll just tell myself that I just got lucky on my success all those other times, but that I'll for sure fail this time because no one can get lucky this often. Okay, so now we know what it looks like. How exactly do we give it the old heave-ho it deserves? Firstly, I'll speak from my own personal treasure trove of wisdom here. And I feel like I need to give you all a heads up that it's gonna sound corny. I think we need to give our younger selves that live inside us a hug. We owe ourselves a great debt of kindness for all the times that we've pushed harder, worked longer, spoke up louder, all so that we could achieve everything leading up to the here and now. And after you've given yourself a squeeze and allowed yourself a little grace, maybe you'll even allow yourself to think back to a moment that felt truly fulfilling. Then you can sit down and start to dispel all of the ugly lies that Mr. Imposter Syndrome has been feeding you. To those who think, I don't know enough. Yeah, maybe, but nobody knows everything. Expertise is built through experience. Experts were once juniors too, you know. Those who think, if I was really good, I wouldn't feel this way. Well, it's a humbling thing, really, to discover that the more competent you become, the more aware you are of all of the things that you just don't know. An example I can give you is when I was studying social media strategy and we were learning about branding. I never knew just how many rabbit holes I could lose myself in. And one example of that was around fonts. Do all of you know what the difference between a serif and a sans serif is? It's a relatively easy one. What about a slab font? Any idea what a glyph is? What about kerning? What about text hierarchy? Do you know what I mean? The world has so much knowledge to offer. How could you possibly even know enough when they keep on adding cool new things to the pile? People who devote their lives and careers to study one finite piece of the world are constantly in discovery mode. I've seen people nerd out and go down the deepest rabbit holes when you get them talking about their field of expertise. They're keenly aware of all of the things that they have yet to discover. Now me, I'm a generalist. And even though I learn at least 10 new things every day, I still know that there is no end to my discovery journey. And that makes me incredibly happy. I crave new things all the time. New knowledge, especially because that means I can turn around and I can share it with others who might be seeking it. And isn't it an amazing thing to be able to share what you know freely in order to empower others? I digress. Okay, another lie we tell ourselves. I got lucky. Well, my friends, luck may open doors, but you walked through them. Your success is a result of your own hard work, not chance. Last one, because honestly, we could go on forever. Someone else could do this better. Yeah, again, maybe, but they're not you. Your unique perspective will feed the outcomes of your work. It will make it unique. You may bring something to the table that Joe Blow on the other side of the floor has absolutely zero awareness about. Let me share something with you. About 6 or 7 years ago, I had a new director whose job it was to approve all instances of travel and conference attendance. I asked for permission to go to the Canadian Public Health Association conference that year. And the topic was about mental health, something that I'm extremely passionate about, both personally and professionally. But my actual job was in chronic disease prevention. Anyway, so I found myself in my boss's office one day on something completely unrelated, and he asked me why I wanted to go to the conference when I wasn't giving a talk or holding a poster presentation, and when our section's work isn't in the mental health space. I said that I wanted to go because I thought that mental health should become a risk factor for our program. He asked why. So I said, well, because we look at smoking, sedentarism, and healthy food choices as our main risk factors for chronic disease, but there's a lot of evidence to support that mental health is an important underpinning of all those risk factors, and that it can bring with it a host of dimensions and introduce varying degrees of complexities to a person's experience with chronic disease. He didn't argue. He just pulled the file with my request out and signed it on the spot. And you guys, that conference was amazing. I brought back with me a whole bunch of knowledge and insights that could be applied to my daily work. Someone else could have applied to that conference, but would they have gotten to go? And then would they have made the same connections that I did and gather lots of food for thought and tidbits of insights to inform literally the rest of my career and personal life? Nope. The point that I'm trying to make here is that we should regularly be sitting down with ourselves and dispelling these lies. So I think we're all quite aware that imposter syndrome is probably never going to go away completely, right? Here are a few more practical strategies to helping Mr. Imposter Syndrome sleep on the couch tonight. Number 1, keep a receipts file. Save positive feedback, client testimonials, emails from past bosses or colleagues or family members that praise you. Similarly, keep an accomplishments journal. Every week or every month, sit down and jot down all of the things that you're proud of having accomplished over the last little while. Add some detail to it, because you know when that'll come in handy? When those intrusive thoughts start to creep in. But also when you apply for a job. Trust me on this one, no phrase brings on paralysis like, tell me about a time when you ... Number 2, find a sounding board. Lots of them to go around in Abu Dhabi, folks. Whether it's a local business group or a friend or my mom. Seriously, she's available for pep talks, y'all. Find a mentor to talk you through your doubts. Chances are they'll be able to reflect reality right back to you. Number 3, adopt the so what mindset. What if I fail? So what? It'll have been a learning experience, and you'll come out stronger and with better awareness for next time. But I really think that you should rethink the not making a maple syrup, ketchup, chips, donut thing happen, because that idea is amazing. Number 4, reframe the fear. It's a little bit like dispelling the lies exercise that we just talked about. Instead of saying, what if this fails? Ask yourself, what if it works? Flip it around and then allow yourself to feel how it feels when it works. How would you feel if the beautiful scarf you just designed catches the attention of a local retailer and they order 50 of your products to sell? How would it feel if someone at Today's Bride sees one of your wedding shoots on Pinterest and asks you to do a web feature of that wedding? How does it feel to see the client who just bought one of your chocolate chip cookies walk away with his eyes rolling so far into the back of his skull from the sheer enjoyment of your treat? Good, eh? When I started writing the outline of this episode, over and over again, I kept on thinking, what could I possibly have to say? It turns out a lot. Maybe some of it will even be helpful too. And if it's not, then at least I'll have had fun. And I'll have come to more than a few realizations making it too. Okay, time for a #listener challenge. Here's your challenge. Write down one thing that you know for sure that you rock at, and why you know that you rock at it. If you're feeling extra gutsy, share it in your Instagram stories and tag me at postscript.ae. If you're feeling a bit shy, but you still want in on the action, definitely send me a DM with your talent at the same handle. I love hearing from people, and I respond to all of my comments and tags. So that's episode 3, everyone. And if there's anything that I want you to take away from this one, it's this. The fact that you care about being good at what you do, that's proof that you're the real deal. Not a fraud, not an imposter, just someone who's growing and learning like the rest of us. The next time that voice starts creeping up on you, asking you, who are you to do this? I want you to answer back, who am I not to do this? And turn on those spicy heels of yours and go do that thing. Next episode, we're tackling business friendships and finding your people in a new place. We're going to talk about something that's pretty prevalent in the UAE, and that's finding and building your circle when you feel alone and like you've left most of it back home. Make sure you hit that subscribe button where you get your podcast so you don't miss it. It's going to be a good one. Thanks as always for joining, everyone. Until next time, keep moving forward one messy step at a time. Bye.